They sent her in as bait. A human rookie, barely trained. The planet was a death trap, covered in beasts no one could track, no one could kill. But what came out of the jungle shocked the entire galaxy. The deadliest predator wasn't hunting her, it was protecting her. Her name was Eva Ryle, fresh out of Terran Academy, chosen not for skill or experience, but because her DNA showed adaptability, high cortisol tolerance, and what her instructors called emotional elasticity. In simpler terms, she didn't break. Not easily. The drop pod hit atmosphere like a falling brick, rattling hard enough to loosen teeth. Eva clutched the restraints and tried not to throw up as fire licked the windows. Planet 7Ka, the mission brief had said. Unclaimed, uncolonized, uncharted since survey team Echo vanished. No one mentioned the word predators. The hatch blew open, and she stumbled into an alien world that looked like Earth had a nightmare. Trees too thick, vines like moving tentacles, and a low fog that muffled sound but carried the smell of blood. Eva activated her helmet cam. HQ needed visuals, even if she didn't make it back. Especially if she didn't make it back. She was supposed to move west toward the last known coordinates of Survey Team Echo. She had a pistol, a week of rations, and a drone the size of a soda can. She didn't even make it 2 hours before something started following her. At first, it was subtle, cracked twigs, distant growls, the kind of signs her instructors told her to notice. Then came the eyes. Glowing. Stalking. Always watching from behind trees or above in the canopy. She didn't fire. Firing meant provoking. Provoking meant dying. So she walked. Slowly. Calmly. Every cell in her body told her to run. But she didn't. When she made camp that night in a hollow tree, she expected to be eaten in her sleep. Instead, she woke up to something lying outside the tree. A creature. Enormous. Like a panther crossed with a lizard and a shadow. It should have terrified her. Instead, it was curled up with its back facing her, guarding her. Her drone chirped. Bioskin detected. Species unknown. Carbon-based. No match on any cataloged fauna. The thing looked at her. Its eyes glowed blue in the dark. Not with hunger. With awareness. She didn't speak. Didn't move. The next day, it followed her. Everywhere. Silently. Patiently. Anyone watching from orbit would see one small human and one giant apex predator walking through a living hell. The next challenge came fast. A six-legged insect thing burst from the underbrush, spitting acid. Eva raised her pistol. Too slow. The creature leapt, and the shadow lizard moved. In a blur, it intercepted the insect mid-air and tore it apart like wet paper. Eva froze. So did the forest. The predator walked back to her side and sat. Like a pup. It waited for her to move. She stared. You're with me? The beast blinked. She stepped forward. It followed. From that moment, everything changed. She was no longer bait. She was a queen, with a monster as her knight. They named the creature Rook, mostly because it stuck close to her like a loyal shadow, and partly because no one wanted to use its scientific designation. Carthan Apex Class Predator, Subspecies 7. On day 3 of the jungle deployment, it was no longer a threat, but an unofficial member of Bravo Squad. The others kept their distance. Private Mara Hale had never been more uncomfortable with attention. Cameras on helmets caught the beast trailing behind her on every mission. Clips were shared across ships and command centers. Some called it adorable. Others thought it was terrifying. A few whispered that maybe it wasn't following her. It was guarding her. Command was less amused. You're creating a tactical liability, barked Lieutenant Greaves over the comm. I didn't ask it to follow me, sir, she replied. Then lose it. Mara tried. She took a solo patrol deeper into the redfern groves, where vision dropped to nothing past 5 meters. She activated jamming fields and sound dampeners. She sprinted, doubled back, crossed streams, and even climbed a cliffside. 2 hours later, Rook emerged from a bush behind her, gave a soft chuff, and sat on its haunches. Its amber eyes locked onto her like always. Watching. Waiting. She groaned. You've got to be kidding. From the shadows, a glint of motion. She ducked just in time as a projectile thudded into the bark beside her. Enemy drones, orbital drop types, swept in from above, launching suppressive fire. She dove into a trench, gun up, mind racing. She was alone, outnumbered, surrounded. Then came the roar. Not hers. Rook burst through the foliage like a meteor, smashing one drone to the ground and tearing it apart like paper. The others hesitated, then retarget. Too late. Mara moved with Rook, her rifle synchronized with the chaos. Together, they carved a path out. She was bruised, burned, breathing hard, but alive. Later, medics patched her wounds while Rook lay curled beside her cot like a massive, armored dog. Soldiers peered in through the medbay windows, whispering. "You okay?" asked Sergeant Bren from Bravo. She nodded. "Yeah, I think I've got a guardian." He chuckled. "You think it imprinted on you or something?" "I think." She looked at Rook, who opened one amber eye. "I think it sees me as its pack." That night, she woke to alarms. Base perimeter breached. Screaming. Gunfire. But when she stepped out with her rifle, Rook was already gone, bounding toward the threat. So she followed it. Where it went, she would go. Because maybe it wasn't just following her. Maybe it had chosen her, for something more than survival. The jungle burned. Outpost Echo 5 had been overrun by something smarter than drones. Mercenaries, genetically spliced and heavily armed. Not pirates. Not scavengers. Professionals. Hired for one reason. To erase the human presence from the Carthan sector. And they hadn't planned for Rook. Mara sprinted through the smoke-choked clearing, rifle raised, HUD flickering from static and heat blooms. Her squad was scattered, trying to regroup. She wasn't sure if the comms blackout was natural or jammed. Didn't matter. She followed the trail of torn branches and crushed armor plating. Wherever Rook went, the enemy fled or died. She found the first group on the ridge. 3 mercs, shredded, armor torn like tissue. One was still breathing. She knelt beside him. "Who sent you?" she asked. He laughed, blood in his teeth. "You think it follows you? That thing is using you." She froze. "What?" He coughed again. "You're not its friend. You're bait." A roar shattered the air, close, primal. She turned just in time to see Rook slam into another enemy, dragging them into the jungle. "Bait." She rose, rifle trembling. But then another voice came in through static. "Private Hale, fall back. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage the target." Command? No, not her command. That was sector intelligence. A new voice. Cold. Sharp. "You have no idea what's following you, recruit." She gritted her teeth. "You're damn right I don't. But I know it's kept me alive. Because it hasn't finished tracking the others yet." Then the feed cut. She stood frozen in the wreckage, thoughts racing. Rook returned minutes later, streaked with blood, not all of it its own. It limped slightly, looked at her, then lowered itself beside her feet like always. She reached out and touched its armored neck. "You're not using me," she whispered. "You saved me." It leaned its heavy head against her side, and for a moment, it was like the jungle went quiet. But doubt had been planted. Later that night, back at the temporary camp, the squad whispered again. "It understands her." "No, it's manipulating her." "What if it's a weapon?" Mara sat by the fire, Rook resting nearby. She said nothing. She didn't sleep. But when her eyes drifted shut, Rook raised its head, sniffed the air, and stood guard. Whatever its purpose had been once, she wasn't just a recruit anymore. She was chosen, and someone out there didn't want her alive long enough to understand why. The ship arrived under cover of darkness, sleek, silent, and without transponder signals. Not a rescue vessel. Not a patrol. This was a Black Ops insertion. Its engines barely hummed as it landed in the valley near Echo 5's ruins. Mara saw it first from the ridge. Rook saw it before she did. The beast growled low in its throat, a sound like boulders grinding. "They're not friendly," she muttered, gripping her rifle tighter. From the ship emerged 8 figures, humanoid, armored in reactive carbon plate, and moving with a precision no pirate could fake. She recognized the insignia on their shoulders, the Orion Eye. Sector intelligence. She ducked lower, peering through her scope. Rook didn't flinch, simply stalked behind her, muscles coiled like springs. "Stay," she whispered. It didn't. Down below, the squad fanned out. One of them scanned the air with a drone. Another set up a perimeter. The leader stood at the edge of the landing ramp, helmet off, silver hair tied back, eyes scanning the jungle like he could see through trees. He tapped a comm. "Recon asset remains with the subject. It has not detached." Proceeding to extract. Mara frowned. "Recon asset?" The silver-haired man continued. "Priority is the predator, not the girl. Terminate if she resists." Rook growled again, deeper this time. Mara didn't move. Couldn't breathe. They weren't here for her. They were here for him. Rook turned to her, eyes glowing faintly in the dark, and nudged her rifle aside. Then it stood and walked down the ridge. Wait, what are you doing? She hissed. It glanced back once, as if to say, I'm not hiding anymore. In the clearing, the squad raised their weapons. The leader raised a hand. Target acquired. Proceed with containment protocol. But as they stepped forward, Rook did something Mara had never seen before. It spoke, not in words, not in a language, but a deep, psychic hum that vibrated in the minds of everyone nearby, like thunder behind their eyes. The lead agent stumbled. It's not supposed to. Too late. Rook leapt. In a blur of claws and muscle, it was among them. Silent, surgical, savage. Two went down in seconds. One screamed before his throat was torn open. Another raised a containment beam, but Rook was already behind him. Mara ran down the hill. No. Stop. But she knew it wouldn't. This wasn't just instinct. This wasn't a wild animal fighting for survival. Rook was protecting her and eliminating a threat. By the time she reached the ship, the last of the squad was crawling backward, gun lost, blood staining the dirt. The leader coughed, eyes wide with horror. You don't understand what it really is. Mara aimed her rifle at him. Try me. He spat blood. It was engineered, not found. Meant to mimic loyalty. Designed to choose a host. A weapon bonded to one mind. Yours. She froze. Rook stood beside her, calm again. Its glowing eyes focused only on her. I didn't choose it, she whispered. No, the agent rasped. It chose you. And died with a bitter smile. The flames from the downed ship flickered against the jungle shadows. Smoke coiled into the night sky, and silence once again claimed the valley, except for the slow crunch of Mara's boots as she walked past the wreckage. Rook followed her without a sound, bloodstained but unharmed. The creature that once struck terror into elite squads now moved like a loyal sentinel, gaze fixed only on her. They reached the ridge again. From up here, the horizon was visible in slivers of moonlight, scattered with stars, and the outline of crumbled satellite towers from the old war. Mara sat on a fallen log and finally let herself exhale. That man said you were made, she said, not looking at Rook. That you bonded with me like some kind of imprint. Rook didn't respond, but it sat beside her, head tilted slightly, listening. She shook her head. Is that what I am to you? Just a trigger? A command to obey? A low chuff escaped its throat. Not a growl, something softer. She looked at him. You could have left a dozen times. You killed for me. Nearly died. What? Rook didn't answer in words. Instead, it lowered its head and gently pressed its forehead to her knee, like a child seeking comfort. Mara froze. Then, hesitantly, she reached out. Her fingers brushed the fur between its eyes, rough and warm. She didn't pull back. The comm on her wrist buzzed to life, static first, then a voice. Recruit Maravel, this is Recon Command. We received your emergency ping. Are you alive? She stared at the device, then pressed the transmit button. Alive. Surviving. Situation changed. Do you require evac? She looked at Rook. The beast raised its head slowly. Waited. No, she said. I'm not done here. Copy that. Standing by. The signal cut. Rook made a soft rumble. Approval? She smiled faintly. You chose me, huh? Well, I guess I choose you too. Behind them, the jungle stirred, and the distant sound of a prowler echoed, but none dared come close. Because the deadliest predator on the planet didn't hunt alone anymore. It protected, and followed a human recruit who now walked as something more. A soldier, a survivor, a legend.